And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the
lesson in mathematics grade 8.
Expression.
And under mathematics grade 8, we are going to look at integers. Now, before we go into detail, what are integers? So, in short, integers are positive and negative whole numbers, including 0. So, we are saying integers here are positive numbers, okay, negative numbers, including 0. So, these are integers. Now, under integers, we are going to look at the 4 operations. So, what are these 4 operations? These are common 4 operations that we normally use since from grade 1. The first operation that we are familiar with is plus. The second operation is negative. Another operation is multiplication. And the last one is division. So these are 4 operations that we normally use in mathematics. Now today we want just to dwell in positive and negative. So under positive and negative, we are going to look at how can we add. So we are saying addition and subtraction. Of integers. Addition and subtraction of integers. Now, there are certain rules that you need to master as you are going to deal with the addition and subtraction of integers. What are these some of the basic rules? Because you cannot add or subtract any integer if you are not familiar with these rules. So what are these rules are we talking about? So the rule number 1 is, when you look at this chart here, to add integers that have same signs, keep the same sign and add the numbers. What does it mean? We are saying, when you have got the same sign, for example here, you have got a number like positive 2 plus positive 3, which is plus 3 there. Now, since you have got the same sign here, we are saying you have to add these 2 numbers and carry the same sign. So when you add 2 plus 3, what do you get? You get 5. And you have to maintain the same sign. Remember, when you have written 5 without putting any sign here, just know that this number is positive. This is the rule number 1 says. Even when you have got negative 2 minus negative 3 like that, when you subtract here, negative 2 minus 3, you have these 2 signs which are the same. So what did you do? When you have got the same sign here, you have to add these 2 numbers and carry the same sign. So when we add 2 plus 3, we get 5. Now check the sign. We have negative sign and we are going to write negative 5. This is what the rule number 1 says. Let's go to rule number 2. The rule number 2 says to add integers with different signs, keep the sign of the largest number and subtract the numbers. Very, very important. When you have got 2 different signs, we are saying you have to keep the sign of the largest number and you subtract the numbers. So what are we going to do here? We have this one, which is negative 5 plus, when you put positive like this, 5. Okay, so this one, since it will give you negative 5 plus positive 5, then you are going to subtract. Now when you subtract here, definitely it will give you 0. And when you have got 0, 0 is neither negative. So you don't need to write negative 0 or positive 0, because most of you learners, you end up writing negative 0, of which we do not have negative 0. Okay, let me give you another one. You have negative 6 plus positive 4. Now when you look at this, negative 6 plus positive 4. Now you have got these two different signs. Now we have got these two different signs. What are you going to do? We are saying, in this case, you have to carry the sign of the largest number, and later on you subtract these two. And when you subtract 6 minus 4, you get 2. And when you check between 6 and 4, I'm talking about 6 without negative. When you check 6 and 4, you discover that 6 is bigger. There, when you go to rule number 3, rule number 3 says, to subtract the integers, add its opposite numbers. Meaning that when you are subtracting integers, we can write it this side. When you are subtracting integers, negative 5 minus 6 there. When you are subtracting these integers, what did you do? You add, then you carry the same sign. Okay? So you add this number plus this number. Okay? Now when you add this, you are going to get 11. Then you maintain, and when you look at this rule here, it is almost similar to rule number 1. But here we are subtracting. Okay? So even here, one thing that we need to take note, when you have got two consecutive like terms, you have to carry the positive. You have, for example, 5, negative 6. So these are two consecutive like terms. So now you have got two consecutive like terms there. What are you going to do? This will result to positive. Okay? 5 minus negative 5. So you have got these like. So you are going to have 5 plus 6. So meaning that this one is equal to this one. So when you add there, definitely you are going to get 11. Now, this is when you have got two consecutive like signs. But if you have got two consecutive unlike signs, what does the word unlike means? Meaning that two different signs here. So you have 5 minus positive 6. So these are unlike. So the moment you have got these unlike, it will result to negative. So you are going to have 5 minus 6. Then when you have got 5 minus 6, you come back to that rule, you subtract once you have got two different signs there, then you carry the sign of the bigger number. So what is the sign of the bigger number here? After subtracting, you say 6 minus 5, you get 1. And when you check 6 and 5, 6 is bigger than 5. Then you check the sign. 5 has got positive, 6 has got negative. So therefore, you carry the sign of the bigger number, which is 6, then you write negative. So these are the most important rules that you need to know when you are operating with integers. Very, very important. Otherwise, once we misplace one of these, you end up getting wrong answers. So what you have to know always, this is the basic of all the mathematics. because you cannot do away with any mathematics without doing with these operations. So as today we are going to dwell much on these two, which is the positive and the negative. Okay? So these are the most important things. So we might even continue to look at some of the examples. How can we handle such kind of examples? So let's look at the first example. Fine. We have the first example here, which is 14 plus 17. 14 plus 17. So once you have got such kind of question, one thing that you have to know is to ask yourself, do you have the same sign? Or do you have different signs? Or the signs are the same in the middle here? So when you look at these two, you have got the same sign. This one, 14, even if there is no sign here, we know that 14 here is positive. So we have got these two that have got positive, and this one has got positive. So how are we going to answer it? According to that rule, we say once you have got two numbers with the same sign, you have to add and carry the same sign. So let's do it. When you add 14 plus 17. So when you add here 4 plus 7, you get 11. And when you add 1 plus 1, you get 2. Plus 1, you get 3. Now others may ask, sir, why have you not put positive or negative sign there? We know that once we have not put any sign here, just know that this number is positive. You are done. Okay? Let's go to the next question. What does it say? Next question there, it says negative 5 plus negative 17 plus negative 3. Now you have such kind of question. You know, one thing that you have to know, don't just jump into conclusion. First of all, you have to look at the question, you have to study it. What have you been given? So looking at the question here, first you can deal part by part. Start with this part here. Okay? Now this one, you have got negative 5 plus negative 17. You have here negative, and here you have negative, and you are adding two same signs. So here you have to add 5 plus 17, and when you add 5 plus 17, you are going to get this one plus this one. You are going to get 2 there, which is 22. Now after you have written 22, we say that when you are adding same sign, we have to carry the same sign, which is negative. Then you proceed plus negative 3. Then you have got again the same sign. You are adding the same sign. Okay? So you have got negative 2 plus negative 3. So these are same sign. So what are you going to do? Here, you are going to add again and carry the same sign, because you have got negative here, you have got negative here. So when we add 22 plus 3, what do we get? Good, we get 25. Now we don't need to write just like that. According to what we have been given the rule there, said when you have got the same sign, you have to carry the same sign. So you put negative there. So this is your answer. As simple as that. Okay? We go to another question. So question 1C there says 5 plus negative 22. Now check what you have been given. What integers have you been given? The last part, when I was explaining on the basic rules there, I said, remember when you have got unlike signs here, results to negative. So, since you have got positive here and you have got negative here, meaning that you are going to have negative. So, it will be 5 minus 22. After you have done that, we go back to our basic rule. Number 2, you have got two different signs there. So here is positive and you have negative there. So since you have got positive and negative there, what are you going to do? You subtract. And when you subtract, then you carry the sign of the bigger number. So let's try to subtract there. When we subtract, 22 minus 5, what do we get? We get 17. Good. So once you get 17 here, you check this, the numbers, the integer that you have here. This one is positive, which is 5, positive 5, and here you have got negative 22. Now 22 is bigger than 5. So you carry the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. So this is how simple the integers are. As long as you follow the rules, you might have no problem even dealing with other questions, because everything will depend on the integers. Without integers, without the knowledge of integers, it will be difficult for you as you proceed to grade 9 next year. Because everything they were demanding how to add, how do you add numbers with different signs, how do you subtract numbers when they have got the same sign. All these are under integers. Okay? So looking at this here, we can now go to question 1D. What does it say? It says negative 8 plus positive 17 plus negative 11. So when you have got such kind of question, do not just go direct and you write your answer. First do it part by part, then it will become very easy for you to find the answer. So like the way it is here, you do first the first part, then later you deal with the last part. So let's look at the first part. We have got negative 8 plus positive 17. So here definitely you have got positive and positive. Same consecutive signs result to positive. So you have got negative 8 plus 17. Negative 8 plus 17. What are you going to do? Good. So you are going to subtract. After subtracting, consider the sign of the bigger number. So we subtract 8 minus 17. 8 minus 17. So we are going to have, which is 9. Okay? Now, you have got 9 there. Now when you look at it, is this positive or this one is negative? So you find that 17 has got positive, 8 has got negative. So you are going to carry the sign of the bigger number, which is this one. Okay, so this one will add negative 11. Now check again here. You have got positive 9 and you have got negative 11. So in between here you have got two unlike signs. So once you have got two unlike signs, you are going to have negative in between. The moment you have got negative in between, meaning that you are going to subtract. So you have got 9 minus 11. When you look at 9 minus 11, what are you going to do there? You have got positive and negative, meaning that you are going to subtract and carry the sign of the bigger number. So when you subtract there, you get 9 minus 11, you are going to get negative 2. So this one is your answer. Now, looking at what we have done here, you will see that we have followed all the basic rules. Because you cannot just answer without following these rules. The first thing that should come in your mind is to know the rules. After knowing the rules, then you'll be able to solve all the questions here. Are we together there? Okay, good. Now, others makes, let's go to E. Now, I think E looks to be very simple because we have now known the rules. Very simple. What are we going to do with the part E there? So, part 1E, we have got positive 6 minus positive 1. This is it. Okay. When you look at it, said, okay, we have got these two consecutive unlike signs. That will be now our first step. So we can even write here just 6. We know that 6 is the same as positive 6. Then you have got these two unlike signs. So unlike sign will reside to negative. Then you have got 1. Wow. You can see now how simple the question is. Now you just subtract. What is 6 minus 1? Very good, everyone. Know the answer, which is positive 5. So when you write 5, even when you put positive here, they are one and the same thing. Whether you put positive or you put negative, you don't put any sign there, just know that they are the same. Are we together there? Good. Let's go to our last example. Our last example, which is negative 2 minus negative 5 plus, okay, you have got negative there rather, okay, minus positive 6. Some of you are saying there are a lot of negative signs, meaning that we just have to continue with the negative sign. So before you even start answering, first do it part by part so that it becomes very easy. You are just like you are evaluating, and at the end of the day, you bring it to the simplest way. So the first thing that you are going to do, look at the signs here. You have got like signs. Now, once you have got like signs, we know that now once you have got like sign there, you result to positive. Minus, negative, or plus there, 6. So you can do with this part, then later on you finish. So what is negative 2 plus 5? What is negative 2 plus 5? We know our rules that negative 2 plus 5, first thing that we are going to do to check, are you having the same sign or you are having different sign? Once you have got the same signs, you know that you add and carry the same sign. Once you have got a different sign, you subtract, then you carry the sign of the bigger number. So in this case, we have got two different signs. You have got negative and you have got positive there. So once you have got negative, positive, let's subtract. We know that 5 minus 2, it gives us 3. Now, is 3 going to carry negative sign or positive sign? You check which one is bigger here. You will discover that 5 is bigger than 2. Then what is the sign for 5? Is positive. And what is the sign for 2? Is negative. So we'll carry the sign of the bigger number, which is positive. Even if we don't write positive there, it's one and the same thing. Even if we write positive here, it's okay. It's one and the same thing because we are dealing with integers. Then you will say minus positive 6. Again, in the middle there, you have these two unlike signs. Do not forget, when you have got unlike signs, make sure that these will result to negative. And when you have got like signs, it will result to positive. Meaning that once you have got negative, negative, it will be positive. Once you have got negative, positive, it will be negative. And once you have got positive, positive, it will be positive. That's the meaning of having consecutive and like, meaning that negative. Having consecutive sign, which are unlike the way it is here, it will be negative. So in this case, we are going to have 3 minus 6. So here you have it. It will become very easy. These two now, 3 minus 6. Meaning that positive 3 minus 6. So just know that 3 here has got positive sign. 6 here has got negative sign. 2 different signs. So you have 2 different signs. Then you subtract the normal way of subtracting. Then you carry the sign of the bigger number. So in this case, you have got 3 minus 6. So let's just subtract it. Normally, 6 minus 3 will get 3. After subtracting, which side have got a bigger number? So we have this negative here, 6 has got negative, 3 has got positive. Therefore, we will carry this sign, which is negative. So these are some of the basic rules under addition and subtraction. So you don't need to confuse under addition and subtraction. As we go on, you are going to see how we'll be doing with division and multiplication. But today I just want to spend much of our time looking at addition and subtraction. Are we together there? Now look, after looking at these examples, what have you noticed? Others may say, but why it looks like negative has got more powerful? It's because we said it from the beginning, negative something here. If you have got negative 1 minus negative 2, we know it. You don't need to waste time. You just go direct by adding these two. Then you get the sign of the bigger number. Now, I did deliberate because some of you, why can't we use number line just like the way you used it in grade 7? We are now introducing to something new because you are now doing something which is at least above grade 7. Remember in grade 7 we did by using a number line. So this is now a new method of adding and subtracting integers without using a number line. So how can you use or subtract or add integers without using a number line? You have to follow the same basic rules. Are we together there? At this point in time, before I give you something that you are going to do it, then you will send it to us. I'm going to allow questions. I know that there is a number that is scrolling under there, under your TV, 0977 28 000. I will repeat, 0977 28 000. You can use the same number to call to find out where you are behind or where you are not clear, so that I can explain again. So there is a number that is scrolling down there. Just check there. 09777280000. I'll repeat. 09333280000. You can use the same number to call me, so that I can give you or I can clarify where you are not clear. You can also send us a message. Okay, there is a call. Yes, good afternoon.
Hello. Yes, afternoon, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's when I was seeing on the TV and I'm behind in integers. So please, can you explain back if you don't mind, please?
Okay, so you are telling me that I should go through because you are a bit behind?
Yes, that's when I turned on the TV, please.
Oh, you have just turned on the TV.
Yes, so please, can you explain the whole question?
Okay, so let me just explain maybe on the rules.
Thank you.
Okay, just stay tuned because there is another call. Okay?
All right.
Okay, just stay tuned. Any other question? Okay, yes?
I'll be watching.
Okay, just stay tuned there.
All right.
By the way, what is your name? Okay, thank you. I'm inviting questions. So we have got one so far. Okay, there is another question. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, how are you? Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Okay, we have lost this caller. Still more, the line is on 0977 28 000. You can call us on 0977 728. Okay. Please do not beep us. We will end up not calling you back. So it's better just to call us. Okay. There's another caller. Please, you can call us. Hello. There are a number of people calling, so please do not beep us, just call us direct. 0977280000. There's a number that is scrolling down there on your screen if you have just joined us. Okay, there's another one calling. Yes, good afternoon. Yes, how are you? Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Then thereafter you ask a question. Please at least reduce the volume on your TV. Hello?
I'm coming. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we are getting you. What is your name? Yeah, we have lost this one. Let's go to another person. Yes, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, afternoon.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from. Then thereafter ask a question. Then we might help you.
Yes, I'm calling from Chawama.
Okay, yes, I think you are following the program. Tell us, what is your name?
My name is Patrick.
Okay.
Yes, I'm too behind on science.
Okay,
I want to ask you.
Yes, ask.
I can give an example of example B. Negative 5.
Okay, so you said negative 5?
Yes. Yes, negative 5 plus.
Okay.
Plus open bracket.
Okay.
17 close bracket.
Negative 17.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Again, plus in open bracket.
Okay.
Negative 3 close bracket.
Negative
3 close
3
bracket.
close bracket.
Yes.
Okay, so
my question is, if we follow the body mass, I think positive. That positive.
okay.
We can multiply with the negative 17.
Okay.
It's going to give us a negative or positive. That's the negative 5. We like the negative 5 there.
Okay.
First,
So-
like the negative 5.
So be fast because others are calling. Yes, negative 5.
Yes. Then that positive number plus there. Can
So you have
we
got-
multiply with negative 17 or we add or what?
Okay. Good question.
Yes.
Now let me just
Yes.
answer you just there and then. Once you have got a positive sign here and you have got a negative sign here, and what I said earlier on, I said once you have got these two unlike signs, so you have got two unlike signs here. You have got positive and negative. These are two different, right? But they are consecutive. They are following each other. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Now, once they are following each other, will result to a negative. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm getting it.
Yeah, so you have got a negative here. Even here on the other side here, you have got a positive and negative. These are unlike signs. So once you have got unlike sign there, you are going to have a negative 3 like this. Okay, now you said, why can't we use body mass? That was your question. So in this one, when you look at the body mass, you know the body mass you are saying you have, according to this one, you have to start with the positive, then there plus, then thereafter you go to minus. That's what your question is, right? So in this case, because they are together here, you will see as we are going to talk about multiplication. When you multiply positive times negative, you are going to have negative sign. That's the reason why we have got a negative sign here. So you will see as we are going to look at multiplication of integers. Okay. So you can continue following us. I can see people were calling. You can still call us on the same number. The number is still on. The one that is scrolling there. I'm giving the last two the last two callers. Okay, one is calling, so I'm remaining with one person. Good afternoon. Yeah, speak up. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling Make.
From where?
Make.
From McCain. Yes, tell us your question, please.
I didn't understand question E.
Question E? Speak up, please. Question B.
Example number 1.
Question number 1.
Example number 1.
I can't hear you. Speak up, please. Or you can call us back. You can cut the line, then you try to call us back. I'll give you that chance. Okay. One more caller, please. Okay, so you can call us back because I didn't get your question. You were very low. Okay. Yes, good afternoon. Fine, and how are you?
Good. You were singing.
Good. You can reduce the volume on your TV.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Yes, tell us your
I
name.
didn't understand that part there.
Which part, Mama? Yeah, we have lost this caller. Let me just pick up another one. Hello?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine, and how are you? Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I am Guy Lopez calling from Maniga.
Okay, yes, your question, please.
Yes, I want just to represent the young man there.
Okay.
Young man, we need example there. Because maybe he's waiting for the answer. The
Okay.
answer there could be 25.
Okay, you said
I'm saying-
the answer should be positive 25?
Minus 25, but 25 there to help him.
Or you are helping him?
Okay, right. Where?
Okay.
Where it says minus 5, minus.
Okay, where it's saying minus 5, minus 17, minus 3.
Yes,
Yes, what is help him? What is the answer?
because there, that is minus 5,
Very
minus
good.
17, which means you go to 22.
Yes.
22 minus 22. 22 minus 3, that is the minus 5.
Very good.
Okay, right. Am I wrong?
Okay, you are very much correct, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
You are most welcome. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we have got one more caller, and this will be our last caller now. Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Grace and I'm calling from Mindstone.
Okay, what is your question, Grace?
My question is that, sir, is it okay if we can use the number line?
Okay, so that's why we said earlier on that you are used to number line, right? That is
Yes,
grade
sir.
7. That's why we are saying now we are introducing a new method, adding and subtracting integers without using number line. So how can you
Yes,
do
sir.
that? You have to follow the basic rules that I've written here. You have seen the basic rules?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so once you follow those, then even at the end of the day, you appreciate that even using number line, it will be just a sheer waste of time.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is what we are going to end today. For those that are still have questions, we are going to meet next time. And make sure that you write those questions on a piece of paper. Thank you. See you next time.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at our algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at our algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at our algebraic expression.
examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at the algebraic expression.
Welcome learners, wherever you're watching me from, either on YouTube, Facebook, or even on TV, you are welcome to today's lesson. My name is Mr. Kaira, and I'll be taking you in computer studies. So learners, today we are going to look at the basic computer operations. Basic computer operations. And today we are going to concentrate only about the user interface. User interface. So before we go deep into the lesson, what is it that we're expecting after this lesson? What is it that we're expecting after this lesson? So learners, today, the first thing that I want us to do is, at the end of this lesson, we should define user interface. We should define user interface. Then number two, we should also identify types of user interface. We should identify types of user interface. Then the last thing that we're going to look at is to differentiate the types of user interface. To differentiate the types of user interface. And I believe you can see those on the screen there. Okay, so now, learners, what is user interface? So a user interface basically is a combination of hardware and software. It's a combination of hardware and software that helps people to interact with the computer. That helps people to interact with the computer. If we can just go a bit behind, when we looked at, you remember when we were looking at hardware, we also looked at software. So class, remember that we defined hardware as physical or tangible parts of a computer. So these are physical or tangible parts of a computer. Then remember class, we said software, these are instructions that makes a computer to work. These are instructions that makes a computer to work. So we are saying that a user interface is a combination of hardware. What are these? These are physical or tangible parts of a computer, and software. Software, these are instructions that makes a computer to work. So when all these things are together, then we are saying now human beings can also now interact with a computer. Remember that a computer is a machine. So it's a machine, so human beings, for them to talk to a machine, they can only talk to it using the hardware parts and the software. So we can also say that our user interface, it also allows instructions to be entered into the computer. We are saying that user interface, it also allows instructions to be entered into the computer using devices that we looked at some time back. These are the input devices. Then we also looked at the output devices. I believe you can remember. Okay, so now we can now look at the types of user interface. We can now look at the types of user interface. So class, there are basically two types of user interface. There are basically two types of user interface. I believe you can see on the screen that the first one is graphical user interface, and the second one is command line interface. Are we together? Basically, there are two types of user interface. We have graphical user interface and command line user interface. So now, let us look at these two graphical user interface in details. So we'll start with the graphical user interface. So now, what is the graphical user interface? We normally write these as abbreviations as GUI. GUI. And these initials, basically, they are abbreviations of graphical user interface. And it is pronounced as GUI. GUI, if you want. GUI. Yeah, it's pronounced as GUI or GUI if you want, depending which part of Zambia you are coming from. Okay, so we have the graphical user interface. So what is the graphical user interface? So this is an interface that helps us to interact with the computer. This is the interface that helps us to interact with the computer. Are we together? And this is a kind of a user interface that normally uses graphics. When we talk about graphics, we mean images. You can also look at videos. So it is a user interface that uses graphics. Graphics, we mean videos, images, and anything that we can relate to the real world environment. Are we together? Good. So that is the graphical user interface. So on the screen, let me put the graphical part of it. Okay? I believe you can see there's a mouse there. Then we can see some icons, and these are items that we are familiar with. For example, you can see a recycle bin there, which is just depicts what happens in the real world. A recycle bin just like any other bin. Are we together? Good. So this is what we call the graphical user interface. Now let us look at the features. The features of a graphical user interface. So the features have got what we call an acronym. An acronym is just a short form of a longer word. An acronym is the short form of a longer word. So the acronym is WIMP. So WIMP. So now W stands for, maybe let me write here. W stands for Windows. So a graphical user interface, it has windows. Now what is a window? A window, these are just opened images, or we call them dialog box on the computer. If you open anything on the computer, what you have opened is what we call a window. Are we together? Good. Then the second one is called icons. So what are icons? Class, icons, these are little pictures that you see on the screen of your computer. Little thing that you see on the screen on the computer. And basically these icons, they represent saved items or programs on the computer. So icons, they represent saved items on the computer. Are we together? Good. Then the third one is menu. A menu. What is a menu? A menu, basically, these are drop-down items that you can select from. For example, if you open a window, on top of a window, basically you find file. When you click on file, you will see a drop-down menu that will have items such as save, open, or sometimes save as. So a menu is one of the features of a graphical user interface. Then the last one but not least is called a pointer. The first time you interact with the computer, obviously you have to use a mouse. Boys and girls out there, a mouse has a pointer on the screen. So a pointer normally helps us to select items on the screen, or sometimes to click on items on the screen. Are we together? So these are typical features of a graphical user interface. Are we together? Good. Now, let us look at some of the advantages. I think I can put them on the screen. Some of the advantages of a graphical user interface. I can put them on the screen there. Number one, we have, it is easier for non-technical people. It is easier for non-technical people. What does that mean? It means that whenever you want to use the computer, you don't have to become a technical in that field. For example, some people are programmers, some people also are rooted in computer, but for the first time, you can interact with the computer. So you don't have to become an expert in computer. That's one advantage. Another advantage we can give is that it has a drag and drop feature, which makes it so much interactive, because the computer has also become now as a recreational gadget, okay? So it has some drag and drop features. And then also we can say another advantage of a graphical user interface is that it looks nicer than text interface. That's why some of you, when you're using your phone, your computers, you can even change the background. Why? Because the computer provides those advantages. It looks nicer. Then we can also say it is user-friendly. It is user-friendly. So meaning that, like I've said, you don't have to become a technical in using a computer, but using just some knowledge that you have just acquired, you can use a computer, you can interact with a computer. And also another one which is very, very important, it is suitable for people with disabilities. You've seen that nowadays people have got physical disabilities such as visually impairment. They can use the computer or they can use a phone. So that's what makes it a good gadget. Are we together? Good. Let's look at now so I've looked at the advantages. So now we can look at the disadvantages. Now, what are the disadvantages? Okay, I can also put them on the screen so that you see them. Number one, it is difficult to develop and it also demands high costs. So people who are coming up with these gadgets, it is quite difficult to come up with those features. For example, the Android phone that you are using just to watch this lesson on Facebook, those gadgets you are able to see, those features you are able to see, it takes a bit of time, and we also need a lot of money just to come up with those programs. And sometimes it is slower than the command line interface. Then the last one, it also consumes a lot of memory. Learners out there, you need to understand that with a computer, it's very, very important to preserve memory. So with the graphical user interface, it's one of the interfaces that consumes a lot of memory on the computer. Are we together? Good. Now, let us look at another feature or another type of graphical user interface, which is the command line. Command line interface. It is also abbreviated as CLI or CLI. This stands for command line interface. Now, what is a command line interface? Basically, this is an interface that typically uses the commands. Are we together? Those that are using, that are viewing this lesson using a computer, you can basically view a command line actually on your laptop. Those that are viewing using a phone, when you get back home, you can switch on your computer and you can also view the command line interface by going to Start button. Then on the search down, you type CMD. You type CMD, then press Enter key on the keyboard. And then you see a black stuff. Let me just put it on the screen so that you can also see what I have. Okay? Is there? Okay, good. So that is a typical example of a command line interface. So learners there, this interface, we are saying it uses commands. So once you type in command, you'll be able to interact with the computer. So certain operating systems, they still have the command line interface. But in the olden days, we had operating systems such as the MS-DOS. The MS-DOS, which is a Microsoft Disk Operating System. This type of operating system, it used the command line to make sure that the users, they interact with the computer. So now, let us look at some of the advantages. Some of the advantages of the command line interface. Advantages. Number one, because it uses just commands, so it needs less memory to operate. It needs less memory to operate. Just word that you are typing does not require you to have a lot of memory on your computer. Okay, so the second one also, it does not use much of the CPU processing time. This is one of the advantages about the command line interface. Then also, it uses what we call low resolution. In other words, you don't even need expensive monitors for you to operate using the command line interface. Are we together? Good. Now let's look at some of the disadvantages. Now, some of the disadvantages, I'll just give you a few. Okay, I can also put them on the screen. That it is confusing for non-technical people. Like I said from the beginning when I was just talking about command line, that you go on the start button, then you type CMD, then you bring all those things. If you have seen that black stuff is quite difficult for us to understand. We don't even know. Okay, so it is quite difficult for us to operate. In other words, we need technical people to operate using the command line interface. We need people who have done a bit of what we call programming languages. In grade 4, in grade 10, those who will be taking computer studies, you look at different types of programming languages. But for now, we're just limiting ourselves to command line interface. Then also, it needs a lot of codes to be memorized, or you need a lot of codes for you to learn, which is quite difficult. And a lot of us, we want simple things, okay? So those are some of the disadvantages of using what we call the command line interface. Learners out there, you can interact with me. Just check the number on the screen, which is 0977 72 8000. 0977 72 8000. I can receive some calls. If you can't manage to call, you can even send an SMS. I'll read just right here in the studio. Let me receive some calls or some messages. Okay, it seems there are no calls, no SMSs. Those who are watching me on Facebook, you can also drop in your comment there. I'll read the comments. Or even, okay, I have a call here. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Yes, this is Prism Africa. You are live. What's your name and where are you calling me from?
I am calling from Maninga, Northwest.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, what's your contribution or your question?
Yeah, I'm trying
Okay, so there are a lot of factors. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, so our caller is trying to find out what happens when the windows are not opening on our computer. That's a wonderful, wonderful question. So when the windows are not opening, there are a lot of factors. One of them could be your laptop or your desktop. Maybe it has got some viruses. Because I've seen a lot of us, we don't like updating our antiviruses. It's actually a good practice for us to update our antiviruses. If it's not our the viruses, maybe the program that you are trying to open, maybe it cannot be supported on the laptop that you are trying to install. So try to check those specifications of the software, and also check if at all you don't have viruses on your machine. Thank you very much. Let me pick another call. Okay, so learners, we are looking at the user interface today. Okay, I have a call here. Let me pick this one. Good afternoon.
Sir?
Yes. What's your name?
My name is Francis Nkoma from Chundu.
Okay, yes, Francis. Hello? Okay, I can't really pick what you are saying. Okay, Patrick, I can't pick what you are saying. Kindly just drop in your message or your comment either on Facebook, or just send an SMS. I'll be able to pick your message. Good. Another call? Okay, so what I was saying, that we're looking at user interface. Okay, it seems I have a call here. Hello? Hello, yes, please.
I am Francis Nkoma from Chundu.
Yes, Francis, yes.
I am asking about the command line interface.
Yes.
I never got much of it.
Okay.
Usually, you are there.
Pardon?
I am asking about the command line interface.
Okay.
Usually, you are there.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. So Patrick is trying to find out about the command line interface. He's saying he didn't get what I explained. So Patrick, what I'm saying is that a command line interface is an interface that typically depends on commands. Okay, when I say commands, like you can't understand. Why? Because maybe you have never come across any commands. But if you're using a laptop or a desktop, you can go on start button or on the search, just down on the search there, then type CMD. Type CMD. So once you type CMD, press enter key on the keyboard. So once you do that, a black stuff will appear on your screen. So that black stuff is basically what will allow you to enter commands. So now the command there, they are quite difficult if you have never had an encounter with the commands before. But what we are learning at this moment, that is one of the types of user interface that are there. But most of us, we have interacted with the computer using the graphical user interface. I believe, Patrick, there you have used a menu on your computer. You have used a pointer, and you've seen some icons there. So basically, a user interface, it is used for commands. Are we together? I believe you are listening, Patrick. Thank you. Another call? Okay, it seems we don't have any call. So we have looked at two types of user interface. We have the graphical user interface, which is abbreviated as GUI, or the command line interface, which is also abbreviated as CLI. So these user interface are part of the operating system that normally comes either on Windows. Okay, I have a call here. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Hello, I can get you, can speak.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Hello?
I can get you.
Afternoon, sir.
Pardon?
Sir.
Yes, what's your name?
I'm good.
You are? Okay, give us your contribution
My
or
name is
question.
Ignatius.
Oh, yes, Ignatius. Talk to me.
Ignatius.
Yes, talk to me, Ignatius. I can get you now. Oh, we have lost Ignatius. Ignatius, you can still call or you can just send your SMSs. I'll pick up your call. Very good. Oh. Hello? Hello? Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Sir, I'm a little behind about the graphical user interface.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's your name again?
My name is Grace.
Grace.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, let me explain. So, Grace, what we are talking about is there are two types of user interface. We have the graphical user interface. So, under the graphical user interface, we said this is an interface that uses basically graphics. In this context, we are talking about images and also videos, okay? And we said one of the features or some features of a graphical user interface that number one, it has windows. Number two, it has icons. Number three, it has a menu. Number four, it has a pointer. So these features, they help us to interact with the computer. You agree with me that the first time that you saw a computer, at least you saw something that motivated you to continue using the computer. So those things that motivated you are the graphics. That's why you're able to play even music on the computer. You're even able to watch videos and even edit some pictures or even on your phone. So basically, a graphical user interface uses graphics. Good. Okay, I have another caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Fine, how are you? What's your name?
I'm Daniel.
You are Dines? Hello? Oh, we have lost that caller. Please call again, call again. Okay, fine. So I believe Grace to have understood what I was saying about graphical user interface. So learners, this has been our lesson. So before I go, I'll give you an exercise that I want you to write down in your exercise book. I believe you have your exercise book, or you can buy a notebook. And I want you to answer. And you can even just capture and send to the same number 0977 72 8000. Just send so that I see what your feedback is. Okay, so I'm going to put the questions on the screen there so that you are able to follow. Okay? Yeah. So those are the questions on the screen there. I believe you can see them. Okay, so the first question is saying, define the term user interface. Define the term user interface. The second one is saying identify and explain the key features of a GUI. Identify and explain the key features of a GUI. And the last one is write down the major differences between GUI and command line interface. Write down the major differences between GUI and command line interface. Okay, thank you very much, learners. This has been your teacher, Teacher Kaira, and I was teaching grade 8 class, Computer Studies. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you next time. Thank you.
And the life.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at algebraic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the life.
Look at algebraic expression.